You probably think tea is just a simple bag in a cup, but some types are aged for decades, and one of them is even mixed with butter. Black tea is the most popular type of tea in the world, but what most people don't realize is that it's fully oxidized. That's what gives it its bold, strong flavor and dark color. Unlike other teas, the leaves are allowed to fully darken, which creates that rich, slightly bitter taste. Black tea is consumed all over the world, in England with milk, in India with spices, and in the US often served iced. And despite how simple it seems, it's one of the most versatile drinks out there. Whether you want something energizing in the morning or relaxing later in the day. Green tea might look similar at first, but it's actually the opposite. Instead of oxidizing, the leaves are quickly heated after being picked to stop that process. This keeps the color green and the flavor lighter, fresher, and sometimes even slightly sweet. It's especially popular in Japan and China, where it's been consumed for thousands of years and is often linked to health and longevity. For many people, this is where the journey into more complex and unusual types of tea begins. White tea is one of the purest and most expensive types of tea in the world. That's because it's barely processed at all. It's made from young buds and leaves that are simply picked and gently dried, with almost no additional handling. As a result, the flavor is incredibly light, smooth, and slightly sweet, without the bitterness you'd find in stronger teas. For a long time, white tea was considered rare and even luxurious, since it's difficult to produce and requires a lot of manual labor. Even today, it's seen as one of the most natural and unaltered forms of tea you can drink. Oolong tea is where things start to get more complex. It sits somewhere between green and black tea because it's only partially oxidized. But that level of oxidation can vary a lot, which means the flavor can be completely different depending on the type. Some oolongs are light and floral, almost like green tea, while others are darker, richer, with notes of caramel or even roasted nuts. Oolong is especially popular in China and Taiwan, where making it is considered a true art. The same leaves can be brewed multiple times, and each time they reveal new layers of flavor and aroma. Matcha is a type of tea you don't just drink, you actually consume the entire leaf. It's made by grinding specially grown green tea leaves into a fine powder. Before harvest, the plants are shaded from the sun, which boosts both the color and the flavor. The result is a bright green drink, with a slightly bitter, earthy taste and a stronger energy kick. Since you're consuming the whole leaf, that's one of the reasons it's become so popular in recent years, not just in drinks, but also in desserts. Masala Chai, often just called chai, is something completely different. It's not just tea, but a full spiced drink, made with black tea, milk, sugar, and a blend of spices like cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, and cloves. It's a daily staple in India and a big part of the culture. The flavor is warm, rich, and aromatic, and it's the mix of spices that makes it so distinctive. Bubble tea is one of the most unique and visually recognizable tea drinks in the world. It originated in Taiwan in the 1980s and quickly spread across Asia and beyond. It can be made with tea, milk, or fruit-based flavors. But what really sets it apart are the chewy tapioca pearls at the bottom. They're made from starch and have a soft, bouncy texture, so you don't just drink it, you actually chew it. That unusual combination is what makes it so memorable. Over time, hundreds of variations have appeared, including versions with syrups, jellies, fruit pieces, and even cheese foam on top. Some versions use popping boba, small spheres filled with liquid that burst in your mouth. Today, bubble tea isn't just a drink, it's part of pop culture, especially among younger audiences, and it's often chosen just as much for how it looks as for how it tastes. Pu-erh is one of the most unusual types of tea because it doesn't just dry or oxidize, it actually ferments. Some varieties are aged for years or even decades, similar to wine. As it ages, the flavor becomes deeper, earthier, and more complex. In fact, Some aged Pu-erh teas can be extremely expensive, purely because of their age. It's especially popular in China, where it's valued for its rich taste and the way it evolves over time. The same tea can taste different with each brew, revealing new layers with every cup. Kombucha is something a bit different. It's not exactly tea in the traditional sense, but a fermented drink made from tea. It's created by adding a culture of bacteria and yeast, which causes it to ferment. The result is a slightly fizzy drink with a sweet and sour flavor. In recent years, kombucha has become very popular as a healthier alternative to soda. But unlike typical soft drinks, its taste is much more complex and definitely not for everyone. Tibetan butter tea is one of the most surprising tea drinks you can try, and for many people, it's a shock the first time. Instead of the flavors you'd expect, it's made with tea, salt, and butter, traditionally from yak milk. The result is thick, rich, and almost more like a soup than a drink. In cold mountain climates, it helps people stay warm and maintain energy, which is why it's consumed daily. For locals, it's completely normal, but for someone trying it for the first time, the taste can be very unexpected. Even more interesting is that in some cultures, tea isn't just a drink, it's part of social life and tradition. In places like Tibet and Mongolia, different versions of salty tea with milk and fat are shared among people, not just for nutrition, but as a way to connect. These kinds of unusual combinations show just how differently the same drink can be experienced around the world. Iced tea is one of the most popular ways to drink tea today, especially in warmer climates. But here's the key detail. It's not just hot tea that's been cooled down. It's often brewed differently to reduce bitterness and create a smoother flavor. It's typically served over ice, sometimes with lemon, sugar, or flavored syrups, turning it into a refreshing summer drink. In the US and Europe, it's a common alternative to soda, and it can range from light and natural to very sweet. Today there are countless variations, from classic black iced tea to fruit-infused and flavored versions. Bottled teas have also become a huge category, often marketed as a more natural alternative to sugary drinks. They can be either simple and clean or packed with added ingredients, and they've become part of a larger trend toward more conscious, health-focused choices. Modern trends is functional tea, drinks designed not just for taste, but for a specific effect. Some are meant to help you relax, using ingredients like chamomile or lavender, while others include stimulants like ginseng for an energy boost. These kinds of teas are often marketed as alternatives to coffee or energy drinks. In recent years, detox teas have also become popular, even though their actual benefits are still widely debated. Still, they've become a big part of the wellness industry. But here's the most interesting part. Despite all this variety, most people drink the same type of tea every day without ever thinking about how different it can actually be. And in reality, this is only a small glimpse of what the world of tea has to offer. After this, you probably won't look at tea the same way again.